Welcome to Marketing Tales with Chris Raposo, a podcast created to spotlight and highlight marketers, tell their stories, and share their knowledge with those interested in all things marketing. If you're interested in more than just the cut and dry strategies and tactics and want to learn more about the human side of his guests and how they got to where they are today, then this show is for you.
How would you recommend balancing a company's inherent personality with the crucial need to ensure that potential customers receive a compelling message that's potent and portrays the capability of that company and the offering?
See, the thing is, the trends are changing all the time. Regarding the content part, so when you say the word personalization, it has got different meanings out there. Okay, so when you say branding, I mean, like if you show the unique brand value. So nowadays, when I see some LinkedIn post, when I scroll on that specific part, I can recognize this is the post of that guy because they have got some specific colors, the specific font style, and the way they portray the copy. I can immediately get, okay, this is from this specific guy. Okay, So regarding things like personalization, it has supposed to change. I mean, like the trend is changing. Definitely, we have to change. So when some competitors doing well, I think we have to really analyze what is really working for them. And it is not about holding to that personality. I mean, like, see, we are not the same, right? If you even back before some 10-15 years, you are not that crisp now. Your personality has changed depending on the situation, everything. And same thing with the companies. The same thing the company messaging, everything. It all time it evolves based upon the customer choices, based upon the customer platforms, based upon the messaging. Everything is changing all the time. So only thing is we have to be very observing the trends. I mean, like how these competitors really getting the customers. So if someone is doing a good job and getting the customers, I would say like definitely we have to watch out the messaging and we have to get the right from them, and then we have to adapt to our personality and shift it in a better way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
sense. It's not like we have to be constant on one specific area. It is not possible at all. Definitely, we have to change based on the market trends.
Hello and welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Marketing Tales Show with Chris Raposo. Today, I have my friend Bhuvanesh joining us from the south of India. Bhuvanesh, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.
Hey, Bhuvanesh, we've been together and following each other on LinkedIn for quite a while. I'm super impressed with your efforts, with your short form videos that you post about marketing and B2B and IT services. So let's talk a little bit about your background, how you got started. I saw that you have a degree in electrical engineering and communications, and you started your career in IT, but then you moved into the business sector, working for various companies, working marketing jobs until you were brave enough to set out on your own and offer your expertise as a fractional CMO to B2B IT services and consulting businesses. Just tell us a little bit about your background, your education, your work history, and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, it's so funny when I think about my career before some 10 years, because that time I was not into marketing. I was like working for the MNCs like Verizon, Symantec. I was working like a network admin, system admin that time. Even though it's working for the MNCs, it was not that much technical. Even when I'm saying like a technical role, I used to like a frontline support, like a kind of stuff. So when I was working for Verizon, I was into data center support. So that time it was like an easy job. That time, I was not that career oriented that time. So at one stage of my career, my family was here in my hometown, and I was in a metropolitan city where I was working for Verizon, all these kind of companies. So before some 12 years, that time, I made a decision to come to my hometown. Okay, so that time, I need a job because I'm coming here, I need a job. So when I went to all these technical roles, because there are some startups here in my hometown, so I went and attended a lot of interviews in the technical roles for network admin, system admin. So every single stuff, I was getting rejected like anything. But when I went to this marketing and sales position, and I was getting selected like 100% clear and weight there. So then soon I understood like that is my personality, that is my character, that is something like which comes easy for me. So I'm easy with the people. So I thought like this is something like a career for me. So it's something like selected. I changed my career course from a technical stuff to full kind of marketing and sales role. Before some 12 years, I would say like it was a great decision I made in my career. Because a lot of things was new at that time. But when I see that at this stage, okay, I mean like a consultant, I think the decision I made that time, even though it was like accidental stuff, I mean like a lot of people, entrepreneurs call them like accidental entrepreneurs. So myself, I'll call me like an accidental marketer. because I never thought in that way. Like, I should pursue my career in marketing before some 13, 14 years. But that happened. I think I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, you never know what the future holds, right? So you got to stay open
Yeah.
to that, and then people see something you may not see, and then you're all of a sudden you're in a different trajectory than what maybe sometimes your parents tell you what you should do because they want you to do that, and then you're like, no, I'm my own person, I'm going to go my own route.
Yeah, life changes. I think only thing is we have to accept it, and thing is life is there for you, because whenever we see that life is something like a halt, I think we can see that a lot of life still is pending, and we can still experiment, we can still reinvent ourselves, right? So it can still go on. So that is what thing. Now I'm saying like a marketer. Probably after 10 years, I'll be like an entrepreneur. So who knows? I mean, like, it all depends upon the situation that you are in, and depends upon the people that you meet. So everyone comes in your life for some reason. I mean, in your life and your career. So that's what I understood for the past 10, 12 years, especially in the personal life and in my career.
Yeah,
It's great learning all the time.
yeah. There's a reason why somebody comes into your life, like you said,
Yeah.
for a reason, right? When I worked back in the legal industry, I told you that I worked 8 years in the legal industry, but we had legal writers working as when I was a paralegal, and one of them was a part-time marketer, and she told me about marketing. I was like, oh, this is so much more interesting, so much more creative. I want to do that. And I've never done anything like that before, but that planted the seed, that conversation with her. And then years later, I got into marketing, and now we're here on a marketing podcast of all things, talking about marketing, even though weren't brought up in that industry in the past. So life has a funny way of doing things and moving people around.
Yeah, and I'm really happy like you made the decision so that we are talking right now, right?
Yeah. So when we set up the interview, you were talking about one of your expertise is setting up websites for potential clients of yours. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the importance of a website and how businesses can optimize it to get leads, to get awareness, and to bring in more business. So when you're planning to make a change to a website, how do you conduct user research to understand what customers want and what they need?
Yeah, it purely depends upon the stage that you're in. I mean, like, for example, if you're like just getting started, in the technology world, I think it's a different step, right? And if you are like in a position like you have got some 100 employees and more than 100 plus customers, I think you need a solid B2B website there, right? For example, if you are like having like more than 100 plus employees and probably like more than 100 plus customers, and already spanning some 10 plus $10 million in a year in revenues. And so in that case, you should have a solid B2B website, because you have got 100 plus customers. So definitely you have worked on different industries. So I see websites something like this. I mean, like, you should be having a lot of core pages, like the home page, the about us page, the careers page, because that is where a future investor or probably a future talent or probably a future client really decide to work with you. Because a lot of things, a lot of credibility has to be brought to this about us page, the home page, and the careers page and everything. And also when you are like a B2B company, an IT company, you'll be having multiple services. So definitely you need separate service landing pages, correct? So these all things are really important. So if you really want to put that, it cannot happen in one single day. It takes some time to do that. I mean, like, I have seen in my past consulting gigs, when you work towards a website, it takes at least some 6 months to 8 months, even 1 year, to have a great website, and that never ends. I mean, like, there's no perfection there. You have to work according to trends. So based upon the user research, I mean, like, definitely you have to talk to the existing customers. So you have to really analyze like what all things you have done. I mean, like, which industries you are really strong at. So if you are strong at some 5 industries, definitely that 5 industries should be in your website, right? And I mean, like, for example, if you have got some 10, 20 customers, definitely you should have having some 5 case studies. So you can talk to them, you can understand, okay, what are all things that you have solved for them. So those kind of content, you have to bring to the website, so that you can use that for a later advertising campaign and everything. So the user research, I would say, like, you can do in 2 perspectives. One is like you can do from the user perspective. I mean, like, your ideal clients, and also you can do with your ideal competitor, someone who sits like a benchmark for you, right? So definitely you can go to the website. Probably if you're making a $10 million, and if someone is making $100 million in the same industry, so you can go and check their website, because the website is like a foundation where a lot of buying decision really happens. right? So you can go and check the website, then you can see like how their case study pages are structured, how their industry pages are structured, how their core pages are structured. So that gives a lot of insight because you're targeting the same kind of customers, right? So I would say you have to focus on both. You have to focus on the competitors and you have to focus on whom you're targeting as well. So that gives a lot of insights for building a website. And then definitely you need a team. I mean, like you need a solid website strategist, a project manager, a copywriter, a designer, developer to make this, in reality.
Yeah, you do need a team for sure. It's kind of hard if you do it by yourself. It takes even longer. I mean, not that it can't be done. And there's way to outsource things like through Upwork, where you can find talents all over the world, right? Like yourself, for example, you're out of India, but you service the entire world. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Demographics doesn't matter because you have the expertise and you can share that with somebody in Canada or the United States or Germany, wherever that may be.
Yeah.
So we just talked about there's different customers, different competitors. Now, if you have a big company and you offer different services, you're going to have different customer segments. So how do you decide which customer segments to prioritize in your personalization strategy for a website?
As I said earlier, that again depends upon like what is your current stage at this moment. I mean, like based, for example, if you're a company, if you're really based upon your strength as well. For example, like if you're a company, if you're providing IT services and you have done some probably out of the 100 customers that you have, probably you have serviced some 30 plus customers only for healthcare. That means that your real strength lies in that area, right? So when you segment that, I mean, like you can segment based upon the industry as well. You can segment based upon the users. So if you pick that specific industry which you have a real strength on, definitely the thing is you can bring that insights and bring that to one specific landing page. That could be like an industry landing page, and then that can be used for like a LinkedIn remarketing campaign or LinkedIn direct advertising campaign, everything. Right. So segmentation, I would say, like, yeah, we know about the industries and everything. There are a lot of industries, right? But the thing is, we have to capture those industries where your real strength are. So when I'm saying the real strength, it's based upon your past experience. I mean, the past track record on servicing that kind of clients on that industry. So you have to segment according to that. And according to that, you have to bring that website copy in your website. And later that can be used for advertising campaigns.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So some companies, they have maybe the brunt of their business comes from, let's say, higher education, but they also service, for example, healthcare and government. But if 95% of the business comes from education, your message should probably gear towards education. But the problem, how do you, let's say you want to branch out into the other sectors though, right? Healthcare or financial services, how do you not alienate those other customer segments? Would it be a specific landing page only for those 2 to 3% of your customers? Because if they come to your website and they see all of everything about higher education, they may think maybe that product is not for me, even though it works just as well for finance and healthcare.
I'm not saying like you have to reflect that kind of copy on your core pages. What I'm saying is reflect on your service pages. For example, like as you said earlier, if your 90% customers go for higher education, then you can have separate landing page for that. I mean, like now you want to branch it out to real estate or probably some other industry. You can have got separate landing pages for that. But the only thing is when some customer lands on a website, you should be having a clean mega menu structure. Like, when they point the mouse, when they see something like industries, they should be able to see something like a menu structure showing like real estate, healthcare. So they are able to find something which is really relevant for them. For example, if you are from higher education and now you're looking for some specific IT solutions, right? So when you land on one specific website, you might be seeing the message statement, then you point the mouse to the menu bar. Then if you see some industry tab, then you see this higher education or probably education industry. Definitely you're going to click on that. So then after that, you see the copy, something like that, you're there do the IT solution for the educational industry. Then after that, some matching case studies for that, or probably matching testimonials. So that, really resonate with you. So it is not only about having some specific landing pages, it is all about making them accessible to the users when they land on your website. That really matters.
Yeah. And that's where website personalization tools really help. If you have somebody coming from a specific industry, then they'll get that specific industry relevant content tailored to them and pushed to them, giving them a personalized experience on your website, making the user experience even more relevant.
Yeah, there are a lot of other automation tools available in the market at this moment. I think definitely we need to capitalize that. But if you're not using that, the best option would be like segmenting your customers based upon industry, depending upon your current strength, depending upon your current case studies. And according to that, you can map it. You can really structure the website. I mean, like the core pages, then multiple service landing pages, then multiple case studies based upon your previous track records, and multiple industry pages based upon your strength. So if you really structure that, then I would say when your ideal customer lands on the website, you are giving the information which they're really looking for in a fast, way.
Yeah. That's trust right there. If you give it to them in that way.
Yeah, it reinforces trust for sure. Yeah.
Hey, let's pivot a bit to we stay on website copy and the customers, but let's say, everybody's different, the way they approach things, the way they approach their copy, the way they present themselves. You see that on LinkedIn all the time. There are people that have a more humble approach, and there are people that are more boastful, talk about their offerings in a way that may be off-putting to others. So let's say there's a company that uses a more of a humble approach in their messaging, reflecting the humility or the humbleness of a corporate personality. However, they observe their direct competitors that may not be as strong. They may not have as strong of a product as company A, but they communicate that strength in their messaging. How would you recommend balancing a company's inherent personality with the crucial need to ensure that potential customers receive a compelling message that's potent and portrays the capability of that company and the offering?
See, the thing is, the trends are changing all the time. I mean, like if you see LinkedIn before some 5-6 years, it was something like a lot of selfie posts, and the algorithm itself was so random. So nowadays, the algorithm has changed a lot. And when you follow some specific person, you're seeing only that kind of post. For example, right now, you might be seeing your post, and I'm seeing your post like that. So vice versa. So that is something like the algorithm has changed. But the thing is, regarding the content part, so when you say the word personalization, it has got different meanings out there. Okay. So when you say branding, I mean, like if you show the unique brand value. So nowadays, when I see some LinkedIn post, when I scroll on that specific part, I can recognize this is the post of that guy. Because they have got some specific colors, the specific font style, and the way they portray the copy, I can immediately get, okay, this is from this specific guy. Okay. So regarding things like personalization, like it has supposed to change. I mean, like the trend is changing. Definitely, we have to change. So when some competitors doing well, I think we have to really analyze what is really working for them. And it is not about holding to that personality. I mean, like, see, we are not the same, right? If you rewind back before some 10-15 years, you are not that crisp now. Your personality has changed depending on situation, everything. And same thing with the companies, the same thing, the company messaging, everything. It all time it evolves based upon the customer choices, based upon the customer platforms, based upon the messaging. Everything is changing all the time. So only thing is we have to be very, observing the trends. I mean, like how these competitors really, getting the customers. So if someone is doing a good job and getting the customers, I would say like definitely we have to watch out the messaging and we have to get the right from them. And then we have to adapt to our personality and, shift it in a better way.
Yeah, that makes a lot
of sense. It's not like, we have to be constant on one specific area. It is not possible at all. Definitely we have to change based on the market trends.
You have to change, that's exactly right. And you have to leave your personal bias out of the decision-making, right? Because
absolutely,
it's not about you, it's about your potential clients and what they want. But it all comes down to testing, especially A/B testing, because you don't really know at the beginning of when there's a change in trends, what's going to work, what doesn't work. So what approach do you use for A/B testing on websites? And can you share an example where it led to significant improvements?
See, the A/B testing, I would say, like it is really useful only if you got some significant, for example, if you talk about the website A/B testing, okay, for example, if you're doing some landing page campaign and if you have got some traffic to that, So if you're really new to A/B testing, it is not really good to have the A/B testing done with some minimal traffic. I mean, less than 100. If you have got some traffic more than 1,000, I would say like we can go for an A/B testing. I mean, like we can change the message variation, we can change the colors, we can change the case studies, okay, depending upon the advertising campaign that you're running on. So it is really good, but if you don't have enough traffic, the A/B testing, it won't give you the much data that you're really looking for. But if the traffic is there, and then if you're running the A/B testing part, I think you can get some good data out there. You can see like which is working, which is not really working. And in my past experience, we have done a lot of A/B testing. For example, like in the homepage or in the specific landing page campaign, we have changed the message variations. I mean, like we are redefine the problem in such a way. So we have seen like in one campaign is really working, one campaign is not really working. So one recent example we did for some 2-3 years was in the blog. I think in one company, in the blog, they had got a lot of traffic. Okay. And they didn't had any specific call to action, like a right-hand stick key element or probably in between inline CTAs. They didn't have. So what we did is, we changed that. Okay. Then after that, we saw some good conversions happening before this one happened before some 3 years. So A/B testing can be done in a variety of ways. I mean, like it can be done on a specific page. It can be done on blogs. But it purely depends upon the traffic that you are getting. If the traffic is really good, you can experiment on that part. But it changes. I mean, like we cannot say like this works for, for the entire next year.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for sharing that insight. Because you hear the buzzword A/B testing, you got to do that all the time, but like you said, if the traffic's not there, it may not yield the results that you're looking for, and we won't be able to really understand what works and what doesn't. Let's move to website optimization. Could you walk us through how you measure and optimize the website's conversion funnel?
Okay, for that, we have got, for example, like, to check whether the website is really optimized or not. I mean, like, we have to see from the traffic numbers they are heading right now. I mean, like, if you're getting this much of traffic, I mean, like, I think the basic data numbers would be, we have to convert at least this much of website visitors, right? So when you check that part, I mean, like there are a lot of tools like the Google Data Studio. So there, you can see like, okay, this many website visitors are coming to the website. And out of that, this many people are visiting the blogs. And out of that, this many people are going to the landing pages. And this many people are going to the core pages. And out of that, this many people are filling the form. And this many people are, hitting the contact us button. So you can get a lot of data from that. I think definitely you should be having this kind of tools to analyze from that the beginning traffic numbers to the end conversions. So without having that, if you're still using Excel sheet and everything, it will be really hard to measure. I mean, every time you have to input the data and all this stuff. So if you have got a Google Analytics, then you can integrate this kind of tools like Google Data Studio and everything. Then you can see like what are the traffic numbers, and out of that, how many people enter the different pages on the website, and out of that, how many people are getting converted. So this gives an idea. I mean, like, okay, only this much percentage is getting as conversion. So then that means that, okay, on this level we have to work on that. For example, like you are getting a lot of website visitors from the blogs. So that means that the blogs are driving a lot of website visitors. But out of that, when it reaches the contact us form, it is not getting converted. So in between, it is not really happening. So probably it would be because of the call to action from the blog to the landing pages, or probably the landing page copy is not really working, or probably the contact us form is not really convincing enough for the user to give the information, right? Or probably they didn't got that much of brand awareness so that they have the confidence to fill the form. So this kind of tools is really needed because that gives you like, which stage is really breaking the funnel.
Yeah, that's a good point. So when it comes to people coming on your website, we talked about optimizing, we talked about A/B testing, we talked about, our copy, but most importantly, especially with people's short attention span, the speed of a website is crucial, right? If it takes longer than 3 seconds to load, the majority of the people, they're just going to bounce and they go somewhere else, probably to your competitor. What specific strategies have you employed to decrease page load time, and how have these changes impacted user engagement overall?
Yeah, that one I used to work a lot with the developers in the past. I mean, like, because that in that place, you need the help of a technical team. I mean, like, I mean, like, for example, in some website, in some specific landing page, you'll be having a lot of sections to convince the customers. We cannot reduce the number of sections. Definitely, you need that kind of copy to convince the customers. So when you have more sections and more copy, definitely that is going to increase the size and it's going to, increase the page load times as well. So that times I would say like we should have a great hosting for sure. I mean, like the great hosting definitely increases I mean, like it really lowers that, that loading times. That is one thing. And if you're using a content management system, I think we have to really watch out on the back end, the kind of plugins that you use. If you have a lot of plugins, which is then you're not really using, then you have to deactivate that. So you have to do a regular check-in on the content management system part. And otherwise, you can do a check on this, the Google Page Insights or probably Core Web Vitals, this kind of tools. You can really see like, okay, this kind of script or probably this kind of JavaScript is really, slowing down the entire system. So you can get an idea of that using this kind of tools, but I cannot solve that because I'm not a technical guy. So definitely that time, I can show like, oh, this is a place where, it is something like it is really slowing down the website. So I can give the input to the developer and definitely, they are going to work on that. But these kind of tools are really must because that gives a real insight like where exactly the website is getting slowed down. But basically, if you're using a CMS, definitely you have to watch out the hosting part, like WordPress. I think you have to choose the best hosting provider to have fast loading times, and as well as you have to check on the backend on the plugins part and everything.
Yeah, and you've been in marketing for like what, 10 years now, approximately?
More than 10 years, around 11 years, I would say.
11 years, yeah. So during your 11 years, doing everything you just talked about, being a CMO, being a fractional CMO, what is one important lesson that you have learned over the course of your marketing career that you could share with the audience?
I would say there are a lot of lessons which I learned for these past 11 years. There are a lot of tactics. I mean, like we learned a lot about the platforms. We learned a lot about a lot of stuff. I mean, like how to handle the people, how to handle the money, the budget that you have, how to, rightly allocate, how to face the situation where you're not getting clients. So I would say the most important lesson which I learned from marketing, I would say like persistence, man. I mean, like you have to stay persistent. That really matters because if you really want to learn the skill, if you really want to enhance yourself, the most important thing is persistence. I mean, like the passion for this profession, that is most important. So if you being passionate, because I never thought like, I'll be like a marketer like this before some 10 years. The financials which I projected myself. I mean, like this is what I want to earn myself in 3 years. I was earning around some 3 times better than that. So I think that is the result of the passion. So the passion and persistence, I would say that is something like you have to be. I think that is the most important lesson for me. You have to be passionate and persistent. That is the most important thing for me.
Yeah, passion is what drives you, and the persistence and what keeps you going when you get tired. And the continuous learning as well, right? So are there any books or thought leaders or podcasts you would recommend somebody should look into, listen to, read to learn more about marketing?
Yeah, there are a lot of podcasts and probably a lot of information in the YouTube right now. I think if you really want to learn anything, just put the keyword, then YouTube, you can learn it. It's not like we can fix specific personalities over there. Regarding the books, I'm not at all a great reader. Yeah, the thing is, I have not read much books in my entire life, but the thing is, one book which I've really read from the start to the end is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Yeah, The Power of Atomic Habits. So that book, I really because I believe in system right now. It is not about motivation. It's not about setting out a plan. It's all about building a system. I mean, like every single day, okay, this time you are doing this, and this time you are doing this. Whatever happens, you are following the system. Okay, if you have done that, okay, be happy about it. So just follow the system. I mean, like that is what driving me for the past, I would say, some 10 years. And especially for the past 3-4 months, you are seeing my short videos, right? It is just coming out of the system, I would say. So regarding the question, I think there are a lot of information in LinkedIn itself. I think if you come across LinkedIn and if you're just getting engaged, some people, there are a lot of people out there. I think if you want to learn about cold email, there are good influencers there. If you want to learn about LinkedIn ads, there are good people there. I think LinkedIn is a great learning platform, man. It
Yeah,
is being underutilized by a lot of marketers.
I learned a lot from you on LinkedIn.
I learned a lot from you as well, man.
Thank you. Yeah, Atomic Habits. You're the third person on this show that told me about Atomic Habits. So I really have to give
Yeah, it's really popular, right? That's why. Yeah.
very popular. Hey, as we take the interview to a close, how can people get in touch with you to learn more about you and about your services?
Right now, I'm like a fractional CMO for specifically for IT service and consulting companies. The reason I chose for IT service consulting company because like my experience for the past 10, 12 years in working with this specifically B2B IT companies. So in order to get in touch with me, I'm already available on LinkedIn all the time. So I think at the end of the show, you can give me that LinkedIn profile URL link there so that people can click on the link and they can connect with me because I am in the LinkedIn all the time except my sleep times. So you can message me anytime there on LinkedIn.
Yes, I'll definitely tag you in the post, in the recap post, so people can find you, connect with you, and follow you there. Awesome. Bhuvanesh,
Yes,
thank
man.
you so much.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for being part of the Marketing Tales show today, and thanks for sharing all your insight about website optimization.
Thank you so much, Chris, and really thank you so much for inviting me to the show. I think I have done just to the show. Thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for inviting.
You bet. All right. Take care, my friend.
Thank you.